It was a hot and humid day in Lagos, Nigeria. The sun beat down mercilessly on the bustling streets, causing the air to shimmer with heat. I was walking home from school, my backpack heavy on my shoulders, when I received the devastating news that would change my life forever. As I approached my house, I saw a crowd gathered outside, their faces twisted in expressions of shock and horror. My heart pounded in my chest as I pushed my way through the throng, desperate to find out what was going on. And then I saw it. My house engulfed in flames, the orange and red tongues of fire licking at the sky. I felt a scream rise in my throat, but it was choked off by the smoke that billowed out of the windows. I could hear the crackling of the flames, the sound of wood splintering and glass shattering. And then I remembered. My mother was inside. Without a second thought, I charged towards the burning building, heedless of the danger. The heat was intense, searing my skin and singeing my hair. I could barely see through the smoke, but I pressed on, driven by a desperate need to save my mother. I stumbled through the house, coughing and choking on the thick smoke. The flames danced around me, casting eerie shadows on the walls. And then, through the haze, I saw her, my mother, lying unconscious on the floor. I rushed to her side, ignoring the blistering heat that scorched my hands. I shook her, calling her name, but she didn't stir. Panic clawed at my chest as I realized she wasn't breathing. With a surge of adrenaline, I scooped her up in my arms and staggered towards the door. But just as I reached the threshold, a beam crashed down in front of me, blocking my path. I stared in horror as the flames licked closer, the heat unbearable. I was trapped with no way out. Desperation clawed at me as I searched for an escape route. And then, through the smoke, I saw a window, a small, narrow opening that led to the outside world. With a burst of strength, I hurled myself towards it, shattering the glass with my elbow. I crawled through the window, my mother cradled in my arms, and tumbled to the ground outside. I lay there, gasping for breath, my body trembling with exhaustion and fear. And then, with a sickening lurch, I realized my mother was still not breathing. I frantically performed CPR, willing her to come back to me. Tears streamed down my face as I begged her to wake up. But it was too late. My mother was gone, lost to me in a cruel twist of fate. As the firefighters arrived and extinguished the flames, I sat numbly on the curb, my world shattered into a million pieces. The reality of what had happened washed over me in waves, leaving me hollow and broken. In the days that followed, I struggled to come to terms with my loss. The guilt weighed heavily on me. If only I had been faster, braver, smarter. If only I had saved her in time. But as I sat by her graveside, the sun setting in a blaze of colors, I knew one thing for certain. My mother's spirit would always be with me, guiding me through the darkness and lighting my way. And as I looked up at the sky, I whispered a promise to her. I would live my life to the fullest in honor of the woman who had given me everything. And with that, I rose to my feet, my heart heavy, but my resolve strong. The bitter taste of loss lingered on my tongue, but I knew that with time it would fade. And as I walked away from the cemetery, the wind at my back and the stars above me, I knew that my mother's love would always be my guiding light.